like, what a slap in the face. That 40 grand that Rory mentions is his first month of Patreon pay. So imagine how I gotta feel handing you this type of coin, and I know that you don't even want to do this. You don't want to promote it. I had to force you here. Like, no, business wasn't going to continue to run that way. We had some talks, but I think that was too late by then.
With regards to the 40 grand that you now said that Rory mentioned, he made it seem as if that was his monthly salary, Cap.
I can't speak to anything that was said in that private meeting that I wasn't there for. I'll never know all the details from it. That whole "I'll pay for production" thing, maybe he did say that to them in that meeting while they were saying whatever they were saying. I have no idea. There's no way for me to ever know. As the nigga that was paying for every month, nobody ever said to me, "Hey, I want to pay for something." The thing that's very different about this cast and that cast is this cast negotiates for the things that they want in their contract. I know Flip's antics during the year would make you think otherwise, but this cast, we stick to the contract. Whatever is in there is what's in there, so there's no room for the emotions. There's no room for none of the extra. No room for misinterpreting what the paper says. I think that's where I went wrong the first time. Like, I thought because y'all negotiated it, y'all knew what was in there. But their whole story is, oh, they told us not to sign it, and we signed it, and he stole. Well, which one is it? Is it I stole, or did you sign something that you shouldn't have signed? It can't be all these different things.
Well, they've been consistent in saying that they had it in their contract. They could ask for the accounting whenever, and at some point, you stop providing it. This is what they said. You stop providing it to their likeness, and that it was in their contract that they could ask whenever they wanted.
No, it was in the contract that you can ask for accounting whenever you want to ask for it, but that was the extent of your privileges. So you ask, and I give it to you, and that's the end. Their problem was that wasn't the end for them. They had more questions, they had more thoughts, they were left to just come up with together on their own. But for me, I was being nice. And that's where the disconnect was. Like, they think I'm being a dick, and I think I'm being nice. Like, in reality, any businessman that's running the business I run is supposed to put their car on the thingamajiggy, on expenses. How you travel, it's an expense.
Oh, okay.
That
BX Native.
No, you shut
Go
the
ahead.
for a minute, because you a Rory Avenger too. That's an expense. Let's have a learnable moment. I did not do that. Not a once. Some of the clothes, that's an expense. That's things that your normal accountant is going to tell you to do for your tax purposes at the end of the. I did not do that. You know how many things that just did not happen that should have happened? Like, right, to be fighting with some that you're doing this for? Like, no, 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 no. No, it was disrespect at the highest level. And then you use the airwaves to rebel. Like, now I feel like you slapping me in the face, you slapping the fans in the face. I don't know what's going on.
They say they were never paid from the YouTube.
They weren't paid from a YouTube.
How is that possible? Because the podcasts are like, is that not considered podcast, or is that just the spot of the
No, that's
audio?
not considered nothing. That's Joe Budden back when YouTube was an afterthought, like not even a thought, when nobody cared about YouTube, when you couldn't post things longer than 90 seconds and 3 minutes on YouTube. That was Joe Budden there building a YouTube. So when you
And a
so
lot of
when so
things are
when you
Greenwood.
come to me and say, "Hey, I want some of your YouTube," I'm gonna say, "No, that's a hard line. That's a hard line. There is no there is no room for discussion in terms of this. If you want to continue to discuss this, then you can work elsewhere."
So
So
like
Rory would never
Charlemagne
be
might not.
entitled to 1 red cent from my YouTube. Paul would never
Okay.
get 1 red cent from my YouTube. Hey, let's get back to the courtesy. The courtesy, like I said then, is, and you'll never find another earth to say this. Hey, all of this footage that I'm paying for that's mine, I'll give it to you and you go build yours. I said that out my mouth. I
Facts.
said that to a
Facts.
friend out of my mouth. They took it as a slight.
Yes, I
Yo,
did.
it's the same thinking. I don't stop Danny from posting clips. There's mad bootleggers that I don't stop from posting clips. The more clips, the better. If the most popular members from the show go and start their own YouTube. YouTube is as big as the world.
That's a
The
fact.
more, the better. Rory, take the same
It,
clips. You go start a page. You go start a page. Everybody go do their thing. You monetize your own. See what this takes. See how much it costs. See the work that goes into it. Don't just come with a hand out begging. Again, you have to establish these things before you put them on a paper so the paper reflects it. A lot of this that I know that it's provocative and juicy, but a lot of this stuff is put to bed just with what you decide to put on the paper. There's there that just can't be argued about or debated, or you could be emotional about it or mad about it, but it's misplaced anger. It's misplaced anger. That would be like it would be like me beefing with Webb and Nitty because of the contract that I signed in 2001. There was a lot of up shit in that contract, y'all. Like it was in hindsight, I feel like I shouldn't have signed it, but I did sign it, and it granted me the opportunity to go on and do everything that I ended up doing. And I love both of them today. Those are my guys because they didn't have to do none of that. And they did what you're supposed to do on that side of the table. All that emotional business is over with for that. It's over with for that.
So wait, so Joe, why did you ever decide to do a profit split with them in the beginning? Why it wasn't always salaries from the start?
Because it's a courtesy. You want to allow people to grow with the growth. Again, I said we betting on us. So yeah, if this thing gets this big, you should grow with that. I don't feel like the people that contributed should be locked in to any fee because it assumes you're going to work. You did the work. You're going to work. But
Are you currently involved in any litigation from the Rory and Maul situation?
not at all. Why would I be?
Just asking because
What?
that seems
There
to be
is
something
no
that was
there
a little.
is no stop. That's more from the Rory Vengers on this side. Glad I'm here.
I'm not a Rory Avenger. I'm
Or
just
but
saying
it's
you alluded
fine.
to
If
it.
it don't apply, let it fly. The point is there is no room for anything to be litigated. There's no room. Like the contract
Well,
is what it is, very clear. There's no court case coming. It's not, oh, I'm standing on business, so I'm not suing. I've never been audited. I've never been audited. You cannot continue to say that this is a thief and you've never audited. That means that you're going off my numbers and my paperwork. The shit I handed over when you asked for accounting. So do you trust the accounting or not? It gets
it
tricky.
seems
It gets
it
tricky.
seems like
And because a lot of y'all don't know what the niggas be talking about, niggas get off lies. Nah, we here today.
Joe Budden breaks down the end of the Rory and Maul era on the podcast. Now, what you just listened to is a space from the end of 2023 where Joe Budden deep dived on all of the issues that many had wondered about for some time. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, Danny, this is old stuff. Well, it's never old stuff. I think the way you really do the science on a subject is when you talk about the same thing over and over and see how the details change. It's what the cops do. Anyway, it is really fascinating, and Joe Budden goes into deep, extensive background about how he believed the YouTube channel was his, and also breaks down his history with Webb and Nitty when he was signed to them, and seems to think that that was a really bad contract. I feel like one day I should do a video about that whole Webb and Nitty contract because Joe mentions that contract a lot. I remember there was an episode where he was talking about rappers who be in bad contracts with dudes who will blow their head off, and I think he was talking about himself. I mean, this is a contract that Joe just never really seemed to be able to get out of, and I think that contract is the prism under which he is seeing all of the business that he does, right? I think the Webb and Nitty contract is why he looks at Rory and Maul's contract and is like, I didn't do that. I didn't do that to you. And you have issues with me. But the problematization, I think I may have said that wrong, is that, Webb and Nitty didn't necessarily ever say they were for the creators. They didn't say they were, looking out for the next future of people making content. No, they was about that bag. They was I'm sure yo, we trying to make money. And Joe never took that position throughout that whole saga with Rory and Mal. It was a lot of lip service to ensuring that creators got their just due. And while I don't think Joe ever stole any money, I do think he started to see that maybe Rory and Mal, in his eyes, didn't deserve what they were getting for the work they were putting in. So he started to kind of move things around. I mean, we all saw Merrill say that Cash App was paying $1 million per quarter for the podcast. I don't know. That gave me interesting insight into the type of money Joe Budden might have been playing with. And Joe said that he never touched the YouTube money. There's just a lot of things that's going on. I'm not saying I have the answers, but that's part of the science. In science, you never have all of the answers. You work with what you have and you try to break it down. But let me know what you think. Do you think we'll ever get to the bottom of this? Maybe it's better we don't get to the bottom of this, as all sides start to tell their stories. Who will be the first to make a documentary about this? If I'm Rory and Mal, I do it first. If I'm Joe, I do it first. I try to get my narrative out there. I sell my story. Now, Joe Budden's in a good advantage point because he has all of the videos. He can make the documentary the way he sees fit. But these guys are all fumbling the bag because they're not making content about the breakup. And I think a lot of these people are not monetizing the end the way they should be. But I'll be releasing more content about this. I think that, hey, this channel will always cover the Rory Mal, Joe Budden breakup to the end of time. Till I'm on, as long as I'm on this earth, I'm gonna break it down. I'm sorry, I don't care. Kick rocks. If you do not want to be a part of it, then don't watch. But the thing is, you do like it. You do love it. And I'm only talking about a small subset of people who swear they're over it, but yet want to comment about how they want to move on. You're not over it. You want to talk about it. And so do I. Just be honest with yourself in the comment section. Yes, this happened 3 years ago, but we still talking about Hov and Dame 20 years later. We still talking about NWA over 30 years later. This stuff is important. How things fall apart remains a fascinating case study. I know for a fact Joe isn't over it. I know for a fact Rory isn't over it. I know for a fact Mal isn't over it. And then there's the side players in the game, the Rockies, the Imanis. They all have their opinion on what happened too. What about Ice-ish? Oh, we got to do the science. Anyway, I'm going a little crazy. Follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.